First and the main thing about a Indigo Cadet program is that you get a assured job in an airline. I chose Flightrule as my FTO, and Flightrule has a collaboration with NZICPA in New Zealand and Indigo in India. There are different price ranges starting from around 89 lakhs. It's basically divided into three parts. First is the adapt test. Phase three is the conversion phase, which will take around 2 months in India.
Hey guys, welcome to the Aviation Surf podcast. And on this episode, we've got Tanmay, who is Indigo Cadet Pilot training in New Zealand right now. So before we start over the podcast, Tanmay, please introduce yourself and why you choose aviation and what influenced you to become a pilot in the first place.
Hi, I'm basically from Delhi and I'm from an engineering background from my past. And I've done my engineering from Delhi itself in IT field. I was working for 2 years before joining this cadet program. All I can say is that this career and this cadet program gave me a chance to explore myself more because I always wanted to be a pilot, and this was the best opportunity I could get to be in Indigo Cadet program. It's basically a lot of things from my past. It's a full 10-year journey I have made from my schooling to engineering to job and then to aviation. So it started off very basic. As a child, I always wanted to be in a uniform job, and I always wanted to do something else. I actually love flying. I actually love how the aircraft flies. I used to study about it all the time, and it was really amazing how fascinating this career is. And especially when you get to travel everywhere, you can travel the whole of the world. This is the one thing which inspired me, that I wanted something in from my heart, and that's what I'm achieving right now. And the other aspect, I can say, yes, there were some friends of mine whose parents and all I've seen as pilots, and into this industry as well.
All right. So, Tanmay, for you, was it difficult to transition from an engineering background into this pilot career of yours or this cadet program? Was it difficult to take this decision to?
It's a very tough question to answer, but yes, I would say that it was quite difficult for me to switch from IT to aviation, because I was already in a job, I was already working for a company. When I was supposed to change from IT to aviation, I had to leave my job and study all over again. It was basically starting from the scratch. So I've already taken 2 years into a corporate life, and then I had to come back to my study phase. That was quite a tough decision I had to make at that time. But yeah, eventually it worked out good. I was able to handle everything about my studies, about my DGC exams. Everything was well cleared, and it's all good now.
I see, that's good for you because not a lot of people actually take that decision that they wanted to pursue in life. They don't do that. And it's good for you that you did and you took that initial step to get inside the pilot industry and your pilot career in the first place. Now, coming to the Indigo Cadet program, can you tell us a brief information about the whole program and how did you end up into this program? Can you please tell us that?
As we all know, that Indigo is one of the leading aviation company in the industry right now. Indigo Cadet Program actually gives you a broad chance to be a commercial pilot as soon as you can, because as we know that the aviation market, even right now, it's in a very bad state because of all the corona and COVID-19 lockdowns and all the limitations we have for traveling right now. There have been many discrepancies that people are facing in aviation industry, and cadet program, Indigo Cadet Program, actually gives you a chance to get into your job. You can complete your commercial pilot training, and then you're guaranteed as a job as a first officer in the airline. So it's actually very nice that this program actually gives you a chance to work for airline as fast as you can. And Indigo is a already a very well established from the past 13 to 14 years, as I know, and it has the biggest fleet in India as well. I actually like Indigo. It's one of the best working environments we have in aviation industry right now.
These cadet programs, they're not similar to modular and integrated programs that we have in the rest of the flight schools. How do they differ in these kind of situations? Why didn't you choose a normal program like a modular or integrated program while rest of the students do that? So why did you choose a cadet program in the first place?
First and the main thing about a Indigo Cadet program is that you get a assured job in an airline. It's basically, if I give you a small example, it's basically like doing your engineering, and then applying for jobs. That's the modular program like. And in Indigo Aviation program, cadet program, it's like you apply for a job in a company like Indigo. This they select you with the screening processes and all the procedures and interviews they have, and after that you're assured a job, and then you go for a training. So that's like a secured platform we have, that yes, if I'm going for a aviation training, which is already a very expensive course, so I am assured with a job as well.
See, that is one of the reasons why you choose cadet programs. And I think it is a universal answer to a lot of other students as well. So that because they are
Yeah,
assuring a job for you in the end. And that is what
right.
matters, to be honest. Now, Tanmay, can you tell us the detailed process of your selection into this program, the whole time frame, and what were the requirements for you for the whole program? Can you please elaborate on that?
Sure. And it's very basic and very simple process. It's basically divided into three parts. First is the adapt test. Adapt test, if I would talk about adapt test right now, adapt test is basically a quantitative, logical, physics, maths, English compiled test, and which also includes some of your simulator tests as well, which is a basic simulator test to test your eye and hand coordinations and your how you can handle the aircraft. Just a basic thing, not too much into the aircraft flying, but yes, a basic thing that to check if your hand and eye coordination match, and how can you do it. And it's basically the first step of your selection process, the adapt test. The second comes to the GD, group discussion. It's taken place in Gurgaon most of the times in Delhi, and so it's pretty much very a lot of candidates come together. They talk about a particular topic which is given to them, and it's majorly for aviation. The topic is majorly with respect to aviation. And then the third round comes as a PI, which is taken by the top captains of Indigo itself, and one HR round here.
All right. Tanmay, in your class during your selection process, how many students were there and how many got selected? Can you please tell us that?
I don't have a exact number that how many students appeared for the main interview, but I have a rough idea. It was approximately around 1100 to 1200 candidates, and out of which around 50 to 70 candidates were selected for the first batch. And for the New Zealand, it was the first batch which was being selected by Indigo. So around 50 to 70 cadets were selected, and we are 24 of us here right now.
I see. So, did you had a choice of selecting which flight school, which country you wanted to go into the cadet program? Because I know Indigo has a lot of other affiliations with schools such as CE Phoenix in United States. They have Chimes Aviation Academy in India as well. So, did you had a choice of selecting which, or they mandated for you to be New Zealand in the first place?
No, it's not a mandate. It's basically you apply. There are different FTOs, flight training organizations, which are associated with Indigo at this moment. So there are around 5 to 6 FTOs which are associated, and each FTO has their own training center in different part of the world. It's basically, you can say, a third parties collaborated with Indigo to train their pilots. So it's your choice which FTO you choose. Like I chose Flightrule as my FTO, and Flightrule has a collaboration with NZICPA in New Zealand and Indigo in India. There are different price ranges starting from around 89 lakhs to it goes up to 1.1 and 1.05, I guess. And so it's basically depending on where you want to go, where you want to fly. Every country has their different weather conditions, different time phase in which you can finish your course. So it's all dependent on that.
I see. So now the previous podcast I did with an Air Arabia cadet pilot as well. So he went through almost the same screening process, the same selection process, like you have stated. So what was your whole experience? For him, it wasn't much of an effort, but for you, how difficult was it? The aspirants who want to get inside the cadet program. So can you tell us how your experience went through and how difficult was the whole screening process?
I would say that it is a basic screening process, because people who are directly coming from their higher schooling, like 12th standards, so even they have their 11th and 12th basic knowledge, right? The main criteria which they test you is on your 11th and 12th physics and maths basic knowledge, your theorems, your laws, and all those things which are included in 11th and 12th course. I wouldn't say it's tough, but I wouldn't say it's that easy that you be so light in giving these exams. Yeah, you have to well prepare for that. Symbiotics is a company who takes care of the examination process, all the screening process. So yeah, it's not that tough, but yeah, you have to prepare for it.
I see. Like you have stated, did you take any kind of coaching classes before you actually appeared for the adapt test, the rest of the other test as well? So did you choose any kind of coaching before?
No, I didn't take any coaching beforehand because obviously I was from a science background and then an engineering background, so I had a good knowledge of how physics and maths work. If you talk about quantitative and logical reasoning, they're quite more or less the same, easy stuff because it's not that much of a hectic stuff that you need tuition or you need coaching for.
Now, Tanmay, can you please tell us what were your requirements for these programs? So, during your initial stages of the selection process, before you went through ADAPT and your GD, what were the initial requirements where you had to do your DGCA medicals or you had to clear your DGCA papers as well? So, what were your initial requirements?
Initial requirements is nothing as such. Once you join Indigo program, they make you sit for your ground classes for your DGC exams, and it's included in the course cost as well. So all the tuition cost of DGC exams and the medicals as well is all included. The medical, when you go to AFCME for your initial medicals, that's not included, but the medicals and all you have to do it. It's better to do it beforehand because to be on a safer side, but it's not a criteria that you have to have it, so you can do it when the course starts.
Considering how the cadet programs are very expensive and not a lot of people actually choose this, is your type rating included into this program, and what is the whole time frame of this cadet program? Can you please tell us about how the whole cadet program is structured?
It's basically approximately a 2-year course. So you start with 3 months or 4 months of your ground classes in India for DGC exams. That's the phase one which you have. Phase two is after clearing your DGC exams, you come to New Zealand. And in New Zealand, you have 1.5 years. You have to complete your 15 examinations here for New Zealand aviation. Then you're flying. It may take 10 months, it may take a year. So it's depending on that. So it's basically 1 to 1.5 years you'll take in New Zealand for phase two. Phase three is the conversion phase, which will take around 2 months in India. FTO, like Flightrule, they have a tie-up with some flight school in India, and there our conversion will be taking place for it. It will be around two months or so, I guess. And after that, the fourth stage is the type rating. So we'll be going to Abu Dhabi for our type rating right now. It'll be of another 2 months, and after that, you're set for Indigo.
I see. So, in all, give or take, it's gonna take you around 2 years. And how far along are you now? I'm pretty sure COVID has disrupted a lot of time frame of yours.
I
So,
have already completed my commercial pilot license, and I'm into instrument rating phase right now. And it's approximately for a month or so, and after that, I'll be going back to India for my conversions.
now, considering how the cadet program has a lot of cons and a lot of pros as well, because they are assuring you right hand seat into this airline. Now, what are the cons of this program? If you can briefly tell us about it.
I really can say there are no cons in this program. If you can afford to be in a cadet program, then this is the best thing you can actually choose. Because end of the day, what do you want after spending so much into aviation for your trainings? What do you want? You want a job, right? And this is the only platform which can assure you a job.
All right. Now, what are the tips and tricks? Can you tell us about the aspiring cadets who want to get into this program right now? Correct me if I'm wrong. They have temporarily suspended the whole program right now.
I have heard about it that they have suspended it because what happened, the COVID-19 in India is quite more than other countries, right? And other countries like New Zealand, they were actually not having anything as such, no lockdowns, nothing. To prevent that, they stopped the flights from India. Many countries have stopped their flights coming from India. So that's what's delaying the process. There are many cadets in India who are waiting to come to New Zealand and to go to other countries as well, but they're not able to because of the limitations we have on traveling right now. My first tip will be before starting off with anything, even before your DGCA examinations, first do your medicals, because even a slightest of discrepancy in your medicals can stop you from flying. So it's better to do your medicals first and clear your DGCA exams, the second part, and then go on for the training. Many people think of completing their examinations while doing the training, which, end of the day, you are focusing on two things at a time, that is papers and your flying, and it messes it up completely. So first do your ground stuff, your papers, your medicals, and then go for flying. That's a better option. That's my suggestion for aspiring pilots.
That's a good suggestion, good tip as well, because your medicals actually cause a big gap into your training. And spending a huge amount before not taking this medical in consideration is a very risky thing, especially for the pilots out there, because these medicals actually have to be there until you're 65, if I'm right, until you
Yeah,
retire. I see.
you
So
have to be fit.
your first flight in New Zealand, how was it when you took off with your instructor in the first flight of yours? And what went through and what were your thoughts during that first took off done by your instructor?
So my first flight was after 3 months I came here in New Zealand. Uh, 3 months I was doing all my groundwork, all my papers and everything. So whenever we used to go to the academy, we used to look at the aircrafts and used to feel like one day I'll fly that. And when I was actually in the left seat of a Cessna 172, and the first time when I had pushed the throttle forward to take off, it was a new experience for me. The power, the feel I had at that time, it's unimaginable. It is unexplainable as well. It's just a very good and very thrilling experience. The first time you're off the ground, oh my god, it's off the ground. It's, and then doing the basic maneuvers, feeling the control of the aircraft, how the aircraft is flying, how you can turn the aircraft, how can you use the rudder pedals. So everything, and especially when coming in for landing, the instructor is landing the aircraft, but you are uh, holding the controls. You can feel the controls, how he's pulling back the pressure and landing the aircraft. It's quite good. It's very good experience.
I see, that's true. The flying experience is especially, it's very strange to us because normally we don't fly every day. Coming to your private pilot's license, how long did the whole rating took for you?
Private pilot license, I started I did my first flight in the month of August, and I completed it, my private pilot, on 15th of December was my day for my private pilot. Yeah. So it approximately takes you 4 to 5 months. Yeah.
Now, Tanmay, how long did the whole commercial pilot license took for you? And how did it feel that once you got your rating, that you're commercially certified to fly plane, earn money as well? So what was your first thoughts and your experience when you first got your CPL?
The whole CPL took me 1 year, starting from last August to this August. So it took me full 1 year to complete my CPL here. Now, and the experience you're talking about, that how I felt that I can carry passengers and I can fly for hire or reward. It wasn't much of a feeling that, I wasn't feeling that much that I can earn by it right now and all those stuff. But yeah, I had a very good feeling when I held my license for the first time. I felt actually that what I started, I had completed it.
But now coming into how the whole industry has taken a toll on due to COVID-19, do you recommend the aspirant pilots to get inside the aviation industry right now, or wait for it to actually overcome the toll it had taken into the civil aviation industry in the whole country and the rest of the world as well?
Though it's a right time to get into the aviation training right now, because it'll take you around 1.5 years to complete your training. By then, I guess the COVID-19 situation will be well under control, and by the year 2023 they'll complete the training, and it's almost 22 right now. So by the time they'll complete the training, it will be a nice phase to join an airline. The openings will be there, I guess. It'll be a good time to start now.
So you're hopeful that COVID-19 will subside and the whole aviation industry will be back to pre-COVID levels?
Yeah, it's more or less same, yes. Not exactly the same. I don't think so, because it's already, a very bad phase we are seeing from the past 1.5 years. The COVID has ruined many things. It's a hope. It's a hope. Yes.
Honestly, then correct me if I'm wrong. It's very essential for us to remain optimistic in this industry and during this phase, because aviation as a whole is very cyclical, and it goes through ups and downs, and it's dependent on the economies of its respective countries. So I think it you should remain optimistic and hope that there is a position for right hand seat out there for other pilots who have trained in the flight schools, who don't have the facilities, the privileges that the cadet programs provide. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that you joined the cadet program at 2019. So, give or take, you must have finished it by now, because you told me that it takes about 2 years, the whole program done.
So as I told you, the conversion and the instrument rate, the type rating will take more or less 4 months at max, 4 to 5 months. And I started in the late 2019. It'll be 2 years after 2 to 3 months. But what happened in between, the New Zealand got into a lockdown in the very initial stages itself when we came here. So there was a delay of 1.5 months because of the lockdown itself. The aircrafts are grounded and all the fleet was grounded, and even we were not allowed to go out of the accommodation. We were studying here. Our classes were being taken care by NZICPA here at the accommodation itself. So that phase of 1.5 months, it wasn't a waste. I would say it wasn't a waste because we were well prepared for 5 examinations by that time. And right after the lockdown, we gave our exams and we were clear with them. And it's basically about the COVID lockdown, which happened for 1.5 months in New Zealand. And currently, from the past 2 weeks, it's the same. The lockdown has begun again. Now the delays can be expected because of COVID, but not from the training side of the training. The NZICP and Flightrule are doing really well to complete our training. They're working hard. So I would say it's cheers to them.
I see. So, how are you coping during this lockdown? What do you do all day? You cannot go out, especially during lockdown, if I'm right.
The general population can go out for the groceries and their daily stuff. Us as Indigo cadets, we are not allowed to go out anywhere because obviously our medicals are on stake. And if something by any chance catch us, like even a cold or something, we cannot fly, right? So in times like these, when the COVID is outbreaking here, so it's better for us to stay indoors. So most of the days we're just studying about our instrument rating stuff, and some of the guys have their CPLs remaining, so they're studying for that. And yeah, it all goes out pretty well. We have a nice big accommodation over here. We have many facilities, like we have TV rooms, so we play PS4s and PS5s, table tennis and cricket. We have a lot of things over here to do. So it's not like that we're getting bored or anything, but we're just waiting for it to end the lockdown so that we can fly again.
That's amazing, to be honest, because you have such, accommodations and other things provided to you during this program. Not a lot of other programs out there actually provide all of these facilities, all of these privileges to other students. Now, Tanmay, coming to the end of this podcast, we've got few of the rapid fire questions for you, if it's not an issue from your side.
Okay, no issues. Please go ahead.
Since, Tanmay, you have gone through the whole program, you have gone through the flight experience in New Zealand as well. What is one thing you would change, and one thing you would recommend the cadets do during these processes?
The main thing I would say, that be patient. Patience is the key to complete the whole program. It's about patience. You cannot be furious about it, that oh my god, right now I'm not flying, oh my god, it's been 3 days I'm not flying. Just wait, have patience, it'll happen. The company is there, they'll help you out, they'll make you fly, they'll make you complete the hours. You will get the CPL and you will go back home, no worries in that. But keep patient.
I see. So, to the cadets out there who have finished off the ADAPT test, have gone through the DT process as well, what is one tip would you give them during the interview, and what is one thing you would actually recommend them to do during the interview process?
The first thing I noticed when I was there, uh, myself in those shoes, if I put myself, uh, many people are very scared and very nervous to go inside the GD hall or into the personal interview. Don't be scared. They're actually very friendly crew which is there to help us out. The interviewers, they're very nice. The captains which you will meet for your personal interview, sorry, they are very sweet and very nice. So they make you feel comfortable, not that they'll eat you up. So don't be nervous and don't make a thing that oh my god, it's my PI today. Just be well prepared, well groomed, and you'll make it, no issues.
I see. One last question. Do you recommend these cadet pilots to jump into this program right after high school, or do you recommend them to go into this engineering field of yours like you did, and get a stable job and get a few years of experience, few years of corporate experience, and then jump into this cadet pilot later on?
I had the same question in my mind when I was in 12th class. So I wanted to be a pilot, and I asked my dad that can I go fly. At that time in 2000, it was around 2012, 2013. So at that time, the aviation industry was also quite down. My dad wasn't supporting me at that time for this career option. But yeah, if it would have been the state which we are right now in, I guess I would have pursued this. But I think even doing engineering was a very good option for me, because end of the day studies never go waste. And I would say that yes, engineering gave me a bit of exposure as well to life. When I was in 12th and when I was an engineer after 4 years, there was a very big difference in my overall personality, and obviously my thinking process, the way I can handle things, it was way different than after 12th and after engineering. Yes.
That's a good thing you have stated that, Tanmay, because you get exposed to a lot of stuff during the 4 years, especially, and you can see your growth being exponential. To be honest, in an aspect that engineering opens a lot of other possibilities as well. If in case your medicals fail in the future or some other things happen during your career as a pilot. So you can always transition into engineering as well. All right, Tanmay. So now you have given us a brief understanding of how the whole Indigo Cadet program works and what went through the selection processes and so many other things, and your flight training experience in New Zealand as well. So it's a very beneficial thing to a lot of aspirants out there. Thank you so much for coming over to this podcast and sharing us about how the Indigo Cadet program works. Thank you so much for coming over to this podcast, Tanmay, and I'm pretty sure I haven't taken much of your time as well.
No issues. Thank you so much for inviting me for this. It was a great experience talking to you. It was very nice, and keep it up. It's good work, bro.